Welcome all of you. What we want to do, as we did last week to get started, is to first of all, instead of me entertaining you, what my business is in the business of transformation. So what I would like to do on this call is for us to have, now I look at the right camera because I wasn't, so I look up at the camera. So first of all, what we want to do is to center into our hearts, because the brain has been chatting, has been doing all the thoughts, as you know from my posts, 70,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day. I think I do a close to 100,000 because my brain is just like all the time rattling around, and that's not useful for the state of mind we're trying to achieve. So what I'd like us to do, as we did last week, and for those that haven't experienced it, it requires a little bit of centering within, quietening the noise outside, and for a moment. So what we need to do, you're all in the safety and comfort of your own home, so nothing lost here. What I'd like us to do is to close our eyes for a moment, place our hands over our hearts. So take the left hand, put it over your heart, take your right hand, and all of us can close our eyes. Put your right hand over your left hand over your heart. And what we're going to do is a couple of deep breaths, and then we're going to focus on the heart center in order for us to get the maximum benefit and give an intention for massive transformation from our session that we're about to embark on. So let's begin with a deep in breath. And then we start off with a 3-second in breath, hold for 3 and out for 3. 3 counts. So follow me. In breath. Hold for 3 and out for 3. Again, in for 3, hold for 3, and out for 3. This time we're going to go in for 3, hold for 5, and out for 3. Big in. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. And out for 5. Clear out all whatever's in your mind. And now focus on your heart center, which means that put all your energy and all your attention away from everything else, but take it inside into your heart center. And as you feel your hands over your heart, really tune into that heart center. There's neurons within your heart and it speaks the language. We need to tune in and listen to that voice inside, that voice that's called intuition. It speaks without words. Let's tune into that for a moment and think of a beautiful memory that you had in the recent past at any time. Beautiful memory of someone or something that made you feel bliss. It could be a garden, it could be an ocean, it could be a loved one, it could be any blissful event. Really feel this to activate your heart center. And breathe freely. And tune into this frequency of oneness. And when you feel centered within yourself, at your own time, you can return your awareness, return to the present moment, and open your eyes. How did that feel, guys? Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Who was that? Ah, Nazira. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Look, what I do is I go through, if you guys like this, I got so much more. And I just tune in because I can tell you something. In all my years of coaching, as I progress, what I learn, it's less about what's going on up here. Someone's got a noise in the background, so if someone can mute it. It's less about what's going on in here and your past and your problems and your life situation. It's more about grounding within yourself, and all problems originate with us feeling unsettled. If you can tune in and become calm and peace with yourself, then any problem that you face becomes very, very easy to deal with. While we're on the highway there, I don't know who's on the highway there, but someone's on the freeway. Whoever that is on the you're a musician, so you're allowed to make a noise, but not that much, not that much. Thank you, Simone. So, the thing is, as you know, right now we're facing challenges like we've never faced before. The world does not make sense. And I think the reason why I actually did this particular coaching is because right now it's the time, as me as a coach and someone who has been through so much, to be able to give some perspective. Now, it's not that I understand what's going on here, because nobody does. We have a virus, we have lockdown, we have mass unemployment, we have mass uncertainty. So as a life coach, I can never claim to say, I've got the answer, you should do this, that, and the other. That's not what I'm here to do. But I'm going to tell you that I've been through so many unsettling experiences in my life that I've been here before. And so for me, it's not something new. And so to be able to be here and say, all the problems that we experience, if we are in the state of centeredness and oneness with ourselves, we can deal with anything. Do you agree? Right? Because if the noise is so loud outside and inside is loud, you're just putting noise upon noise. So if you think about this, if you've got your thoughts going on inside of your mind going, oh, coronavirus, is it real? Is it not real? People are dying. People are not dying. Will we lose our jobs? Will we have... Now, if you listen to that noise that's going on, and if you put social media on, you put the television on, they report the amount of infections, the amount of deaths, and all the rest of it, you have to feel overwhelmed. Now, how do you react? Because life is not about what's going on. Life is about what your reaction is. So a friend of mine just passed away, a friend of mine's mom just passed away after a lengthy illness. And I said, it's such a great blessing because she was in such pain, going up now probably a year. And so I think it's a great blessing that God has given her to release her. And of course, the son and the family have to now deal with that loss. But because I've lost my own mom and my own dad, I've been through that process already. And I know I've had amazing times with them. So obviously, when it happens, you're in shock. It's like life doesn't make sense. But in hindsight, people said to me, oh, you poor thing, you lost your mom and dad so young. And I said, no, I had amazing time with them. And I was actually moved out of home before they passed away. So I was very settled. The reason why I'm mentioning this is that there was no great shock. There was no great trauma experience later on because I chose how to react to the events externally. Does that make sense? So if the noise is so loud outside and the noise is so loud inside us, how can we even know how to deal with life? And if we didn't have coronavirus, life does not make sense on its own. And that's why, one of the reasons why I became a life coach, because we're taught, make money, feed the family, do this, do that, worship God, pray 5 times a day, and all these kind of things that we've all been caught in one way or the other. And Simone, he heard me. I don't know. I think he left the call. Is he still there? I'm not sure. But, oh, you're here. Okay. Well, so Simone was, when I met with him and he heard about the topic of guilt and shame, which is so important to address. When we feel guilty, when we feel shameful, these emotions don't belong to a child inside of us. And we went through a process of recording a particular course and describing these whole events. But it was one of those things that I grew up with through my upbringing of feeling guilty and shameful. So if you lie to someone, then you're shameful. And I was so guilty of this. You tell your child, like my wife does it, and I do the same. Don't you have any shame? So the child at the age of 5 or 6 are going, oh, that's shameful. Now you grow up and you feel like disgusting inside. You're like, but then you wonder why this happened. And so, not to blame our parents because they're doing the best that they can. And it's really important for us to understand as well. It's not putting the blame on anyone. It's to say that we have not understood the power of our words. And when I started studying NLP and realizing that how we think and how we feel and what we say has such a tremendous effect, I could go back into my past and say, no wonder I feel unattractive, why I feel less self-worth and all the rest of it. So after going through so much in myself with every issue that I encounter in myself on a daily basis, I said, it's time to bring this out to the world. So what I want to say is that there are many issues we could talk about. And I'm available to talk across the whole platform of issues, from relationships to money matters to all sorts of things. But I really believe that the best value I can give you, and I want your input on this, is to figure out how to center within ourselves, how to tune in to that quiet space within us with all this noise, so that we can, first of all, know what's going on around us and within us. What do you guys think? Tell me about, if I could allow you guys in a second, or should I just let you blurt it out? I'm not sure what else, because there's quite a few people here. What's the priority right now? What do you think about what I say? Anyone can comment. I think then what we can do is, I'd like you to experience for a moment what it feels like to be centered within yourself. Just to give you a background, I'm an analytical person, which means that I have to understand the world around me. I can't see it. I can't feel it. There's a powerful technique that I can teach you as we go forward, the different personality types and how to identify them. And it's very powerful. And I use it in my coaching. Salespeople use it all the time. People trying to get dates or trying to persuade people in sales use it all the time. It's a technique of finding out the type of person that you are. So, okay, let's just do this quickly and I'll give you an example. And I'll tell you, and you can tell me now if I'm on the mark or not. Varoshan, we've done this exercise, right, in person, about the different personality types. Well, if you remember, you're a feelings type, and Leanne is a okay. We'll come back to. So there's 4 primary types. You have the K type of person. The K type is feelings type. So that's my wife. She doesn't understand what I'm saying. She feels what I'm saying. Okay. So if I say, listen, honey, do you understand me? She says, no. So if I go and give her a hug and say, do you understand now? No, but I can feel what you're saying. Okay. So that's the feeling type. The understanding type, like myself, my way of expressing love, and this is a huge deal breaker in relationships. If you get this, you're going to get your relationships on a, because, so I was, after I figured this out with my coach, I was with my coach and, you know, I come home after work, I sit on the couch, my wife sits on the couch, we're watching TV and I love it. I'm like, oh, look at that, you know, that's happening. And so after I did the course and I found out that she's a feelings type and I'm an understanding type, so I understand that we have a love affair and we're married and, you know, very happily married. So I said to my wife, being a feelings type, what do you think? How do you find our engagement here? And she says, no, I don't feel anything. I said, but I tell you I love you. You know I love you. I provide for you. I'm here. I listen to all the things you got to say. She said, I don't care about all of that. I'm like, what? Because I thought it was the most important thing in the world. She says, just hold me and hug me. You don't care what we watch. And I was like, geez, okay. That was a shock to me, you know, like, okay. So, and I know a lot of women that can be the analytical type and their husbands are like, just hug me. And I'm like, well, how do you get that? Anyway, so that's the second type. The third type, your mom is the feeling type. Okay. So then you have the visual type. Now the visual people need to see what you're talking about. You know, those people, they'll say, you see what I mean? They use those words and they use those clues. So they'll say, you don't see the big picture. Simone, you're the visual type, definitely, huge thing. So you're like, I'm not seeing what you mean, right? And so that you have the other one. And the one rare type, which I have a feeling, Hayat, being the musician, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, maybe auditory. Now the auditory types, they're the ones, someone's phone is buzzing very aggressively. Okay. And then the last one, I just talked about auditory types and the phone buzz, so that's the synchronicity there. The audio types, they pick up frequencies and sound, so they're not listening to my voice, they're listening to the pitch of my voice. And in fact, they can tell what I'm saying by how I'm saying it. So they say, so if I say to them, I'm having a bad day, and I'll say, I'm having a bad day, they can entirely tell the two differences. A visual type will go, well, what's the problem? Hayat, are you one of them? That's it. That's it. You see what she says? I can feel the meaning in the sound. And most of us are going around thinking everybody's exactly the same. So if you're in a sales conference or you're trying to explain, and I tell you what, my relationship with my wife and my children, so I identified, so there's a couple of questions you can ask your partners, your spouses, everything when you go off the call or another time. Ask them the following question. What's your favorite car? Okay, so if you had any money in the world, what car would you buy? So some would choose a Ferrari, the Porsche. Some people would say a Volvo. I'm going to try with 3 people and I'll tell you, based on a question, what type of person you are, okay? And then I'm going to ask you what color. Okay, let's try it. Nazira, you seem really focused, so I'm going to start with you. Okay, so Nazira, I'm going to guess your personality type, okay, and I don't know it. What car would you buy that is the most, if you had any choice in the world? Okay, so you're very leaning towards analytical now, very little feelings, and based on that remark. So if you look at what I'm doing here and you pick up, you see, okay, let's try another one so we can compare. Let's see, who would like to have a go here? If anybody doesn't know, we're in one of the most developed countries in Africa, but we don't have electricity continuously. So it's one of those things. I think Ashfaq in Mauritius doesn't even have any load shedding. Do you get load shedding in Mauritius, Ashfaq? And he's in an undeveloped African country. He's like, load shedding, what's that? Come to a developed nation like South Africa. Munifa, you're the right one. Let's go with you. What's your favorite car? Yeah, because I can tell you how I figured that out as well. But anyway, go ahead. Eye movements. Your eyes tell you everything. If you're looking up, if you want to see if somebody is lying or someone is trying to recover from the past, you can tell. Customs officials, they've mastered this, and it's part of what I do in my coaching. So if I'm trying to retrieve something from memory, and you ask me a question, I go, you say, I move my eyes to the right, and you can see me. So think about it, right? I say to you, what did you do last week? You'll go, you're looking up, right? And if I say to you, what's your name? You answer immediately. Do you like blue? Look, I look to the left. Can you see there's all the different movements? So I can actually tell where you're retrieving it from. That's your hard disk. That's your fast forward, rewind, forewind, you know? And so, like, if I say to you, what did you do when you were 12? You'll say, because you're looking back. You're actually physically looking back into your past. Anyway, so Munifa, if you had to choose a car, what would it be? Right. So there's a contradiction there, you see. In NLP, we call that a parts conflict. So on the one hand, here's the extrovert. On the other hand, it's just like, I just want to get away. So what you're saying, in other words, is that don't judge me for the way I look. Listen to what I have to say, because that's more interesting. You see, that's your personality type in there. So if I want, so yeah, and so that's a wonderful personality type. But you've got to get the two aligned, and that's something that we can look at doing as well. So you want a small car, unassuming, red. Subdued. Okay, now you can see just based on that, and because we don't have too much time, I could tell you that you use the word calm and you use the word blue. Now, people who like blue generally are very good communicators and are teachers naturally by the color that they do. And you can see by your communication style there as well. The second thing, you mentioned the word calm. Now, calm is a description of an emotion. Now, who's in IT here? Based on a preliminary thing, I could tell in another 10 questions we can do that you are primarily a feelings type. But I would say there's a second. By the way, all of us are all 4. We lead with one primary quality. So your leading quality, I would say, is somewhere between analytical and feelings. Very similar to Nazira, in fact. But Nazira is also, a visual person like Simone. And I know what he drives, because Simone is a visual guy. So he's like, I'm here. Simone, what do you drive? No, but your motorbike. Tell me about the motorbike. Ducati motorbike, right? Oh, which one? Okay, well, he's got a couple of Ducatis. So if you ever need a wild ride, you can see Simone. Now, Simone is visual. So visual people will choose the red Ferrari. And he's Italian, so of course, the red Ferrari. I'm using the Italian. Sorry, Anissa, tell me, what car would you choose and why? Simple with her. Aesthetically pleasing, visually beautiful. It's all analytical words. She is entirely, I need to understand the world. And let me guess, you said white, but you like gray or silver. How does that sound? I can tell. There you go. Analytical. Entirely me. So that's it. Nazira, you also see the world as either good or bad, right or wrong. He's a bad guy, he's a good guy. And that's something you have to work on in order to sort of grow within yourself as well. Right, yeah, you can. Well, now that movie came out, we can't even like, okay. So, all right. So you can tell there's anyone who thinks they're visual here.